my role here at ACP is Head of Industry Integration and Programme Strategy. And it's my pleasure to host our final, I think it's our final panel of the day. And this is very much around quite a few of the programmes that we offer at ACPE. So kind of encompasses our Bachelor of Sports Business, our Bachelor of Sports Coaching Management, and our Bachelor of Football. And when we say football here at ACP, we're talking about all of the football codes. So lots of our panellists, who I will get them to introduce themselves in a minute, their roles very much relate to those sorts of programmes. So I think I've got 30 to 40 minutes to grill our four panellists about their jobs, their journey, and maybe even a little bit about their future jobs and journeys. We'll see how far we get with that as well. While I'm talking to our four panellists, please really try and think of what you wanted me to ask that I don't ask, because there'll be loads that you want me to ask that I don't, and we'll save some time for people to ask those questions, okay? I'm sure our panellists might be able to stay around at the end, but please don't sit on a question, okay? Ask as many as possible. All right, okay. My first question is I'm going to ask, and we'll go down the line for the first one, okay, is I'm going to ask our panellists to introduce themselves, say their job title, okay, but then I'm going to ask them in one sentence to summarise what success looks like if they do their job well. Okay, all right. Now, I will let you into a secret. They were sent loads of questions and I've just changed them all, so we are being very adaptive here. So, Manny, if you could go first, please.
Hi all. My name's Manny Vlandis. I am the Chief Financial Officer of Netball New South Wales, but that photo was when I was the Chief Financial Officer at Sydney FC. What does success look like for me? I'm the accountant. So for success for me is making sure the clubs don't lose too much money and we have enough cash to pay the staff and players.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's it. I want it that short and snappy, James.
All right, so I've got my benchmark for short and snappy. Hi everyone, my name is James Stafford. I am the marketing manager at Swimming Australia, and success for me looks like more people watching swimming, more people participating in swimming, and more sponsors and companies wanting to spend money with swimming.
So we've started with the money, and now we'll see if it's the same for Georgia and Josh.
Hi everyone, I'm Georgie Moore. I'm the Female Participation Officer at New South Wales Rugby. It does say Development Officer. I've only just moved to this role within the last week. So success for me is getting more girls into rugby across schools and competitions, growing that from players to referees, the whole way through.
Hey everyone, my name's Joshua Jacka. I'm the Community Football Development Manager for Nepean Football Association, and success in my role looks like increasing participation of players in football, supporting more coaches to be accredited within the association, and supporting clubs to grow and develop as they continue.
Lovely, thank you very much. Okay, so 4 quite different jobs in the sporting landscape. Again, I'm going to go short and snappy for this. Don't worry, there's going to be some longer answers to as we progress, but short and snappy for this one. What I'd love us to hear about is the job that you're in now. I'd love you to be able to tell us a little bit about the journey to get there, okay? And then if you can weave in there as well one or two things that you think you did that helped you get where you are. So there's kind of this was my journey, and then a little bit of, and these are things I think I did that helped me get there, okay? So Josh, because you're nodding the most, you're going to go first on that.
So my journey started to get to where I am now as a coach, so I wasn't in any sort of full-time role in football. One of the things that helped me to get into my role was asking loads of questions to people in the industry to get a better understanding of how to get involved and continue to try and build my own knowledge of the sport. How I got the role was actually I was coaching first grade for Nepean FC Women's. I had a phone call with the CEO who said, by the way, there's this job going up, would you consider applying? And that was how I ended up getting the role.
And previous roles in sport, Josh?
Previous roles in sport, I was the education coordinator for Little Athletics New South Wales. Their office is about 500 metres that way. So, and I worked for the Liverpool FC International Academy here as well, and a lecturer here as well.
Okay, thank you, Josh. That was great. James, I'm going to get you to go next, mate, if that's all right.
My initial job out of high school, I guess, was selling shoes and treadmills at Rebel Sport. And what I kind of realised in doing that was, when you're trying to sell these things and sell the brand, my job would have been a little bit easier, in my opinion, at the time, if the marketing side of things was more effective. And so I sort of developed an interest in that, and that persuaded me to go and study marketing at uni. But I also just realised that I had a real interest in the business side of sport as well. So following, the kind of deals and changes and branding things that were happening in sport, and realising I had like a real kind of passion for that. And so after I finished uni, I ended up moving into Rebel Sports marketing team in a sort of entry-level role, and then just continued to kind of build my career from there. So I think two of the things that have really kind of helped me get where I am are building my network, and it's not something that happens overnight. It's something that happens over a lot of time, but it is something that you have to actively work on. And just asking for opportunities as well. If you see something that you might like to try or might like to do, the worst that can happen is somebody says no, but you'll never know that unless you actually ask for that opportunity.
Thanks, James. Let's go, Georgia.
Yeah, mine's a little bit different. So working in rugby, I played rugby myself, and that's how all these opportunities opened up for me. I've been playing for roughly 15 years and I'm only 23. So I'm originally from the country, so out there we didn't have that many opportunities, so I had to do like casual work for New South Wales Rugby between school and stuff like that. And then when I decided to make the opportunity to leave my country town and move to the city, that's when everything kind of opened up for me. But it didn't happen through, like going to uni or anything like that. It happened that I was in the sport that I love, and I just took every opportunity I could. So I did my work experience with New South Wales Rugby. I did refereeing, I did match day management stuff, and then eventually it all just lined up and slid straight into this role.
Good stuff, thank you. Manny?
It's not going to be short and sweet. I started probably 35 years ago when I was pretty good at maths at school. I became an accountant, went for an accounting company. I'll fast forward to this job. I knew a couple of people that were working in Netball. I had worked with them in sport before. I've been in sport probably for 15 years. It's a pretty small industry, and I liked the people that had been in Netball, and the role came up as a CFO, so I applied and was lucky enough to get it. I've been there 3 seasons now.
Brilliant. Okay, right. I might not ask everybody the same question now, okay? But the question I'm going to ask is, what do employers in your area of sport, what do they value the most that perhaps, I'll say students, whether it's these students or my students, might underestimate? So I'll rephrase that because I didn't articulate that very well. In your area of sport, what do you think your employers or you value really highly that you think is underestimated by students? I'll let anyone jump in on that.
And one of the big ones for me is being proactive. So, or asking questions about what's next. How can we change? How can we improve this? What's the next step to make this better? So I'm going to kind of use an example. Is that all right of someone in the room, Gareth?
Yeah, go for it.
Will, who's sitting at the back of the room, he's going to stand up and have a wave to everyone there. So I'm going to sing his praises a little bit. He is one of my coaches that we've employed. He's a student here at ACPE, and he's always asking me as a coach, hey, I've had the thought about this session, what do you think? Hey, could we improve this because I've got this many players and I need to work on this, what do you think? And always looking for feedback and being proactive. So that's a huge one looking after coaches, that's a huge one for me.
All right, great. So we've got proactiveness. Who's going to add something else to that? Go on, Manny.
Yep. Yeah, like that one, proactive and positive mindset. someone who's willing to dig in and get the job done. I think that's really important. When you start, you've got to work at it and put in a bit extra. That's what I think is important.
All right, so I'm going to just change the question a little bit. So Josh and Manny have both spoken about, I suppose, qualities of people. I'm going to see if James and Georgia can think of something that you actually have to do. Like, so if that's the type of person they are, what is something that you can actually do and show that you've done that you think employers value but often goes under the radar? George, I think your story really resonates with this, so maybe you can dig into a little bit more about things you did that you think helped you get your current role.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just being comfortable in being uncomfortable. Like, it's all cool to be in that comfort zone, but once you step outside that comfort zone, that's when everything changes. The whole game changes. And then that's when people really start noticing you that, yeah, you can, I don't know, run a gala day or you can run a tournament, but if you can run a statewide gala day or a statewide tournament, that's really what pushes you to that next level.
Yeah, nice, really nice. James, you work with students here at ACP, so what is it that you kind of maybe advice that you give to them on things they can do that might make them stand out, that you know employers really value?
Yeah, I think if they're in the state of actually looking for work or looking to break into the industry, there's two things I think that are really, really important to do. One of them is volunteer, and that might not be a volunteering opportunity that's advertised. For instance, at Swimming Australia, we use volunteers to help run our events, and we advertise those positions. And we actually had a former student from ACPE who was volunteering at the Australian swimming trials here last week. But nothing's stopping you from calling up your local football, netball club, whatever it is, and saying, hey, what if I, for the next 6 months, managed your social media account for you? And what that's going to do is, it's going to, be music to the ears of the person who's running that account, because they're most likely doing 50 other things as well. And B, it's going to give you the opportunity to walk into an entry-level role and say, you know what, I haven't had a job in the industry before, but I have done this, and here were the results. So that's why I say volunteering is a really good way to give you the experience that you might not get elsewhere, but to show that you're proactive before you are even given a task to do. And the second thing as well is put your opinions out there. LinkedIn is obviously a professional platform, and so that's a really good place to be able to post your thoughts and opinions about the industry. But even on your day-to-day social media accounts like Instagram or TikTok, to be getting up there and saying like, hey, this is what's happening in the industry that I've been reading about, and this is what I think about it. And that shows you're not just some person that loves sport and wants to work in the industry, but you're actually passionate and care about it.
Beautiful. Look, I think I will go back to asking you all the same question. I maybe should have started with this. You can answer it you can answer one of these two questions. All right. Question one is, tell us about the best day you've had in your job. Okay. Or what is it that you love so much about your job? What elements of your job do you love that makes you, let's say, enjoy working in the world of sport? Okay. Whoever puts the microphone to you, Manny's there. He's ready.
For me, that's easy. Game day. Well, you work in sport for game day. It's exciting, it's fun, entertaining, it's an escape. I just think sport, that's why we're probably here. And I wasn't very good at sport, so I was good at maths. I became an accountant, I work in sport. So for me, the pathway can be whatever you're good at. And I think that's really important as a student. You don't have to be an athlete. And sport, every club has a huge range of different skill sets that are required. But for me, you've got to do your day job. I've got to do the finances Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. But working on game day is exciting. And I love it. And that's why, I suppose. Is that cool?
That's perfect answer.
Day highlight, that's a hard one. But I'm going to go back to 2013, grand final, Roosters winning, beating Manly. Go the Chooks.
Don't alienate the audience. Okay, who wants to go next? Either the best day you remember in sport or just why you love your job so much. Go on, Georgia.
I think probably for me, especially coming from the country, is like that grassroots level and watching girls grow from under sixes all the way through to playing women's and opens. It's the opportunity that I didn't really get back home in the country, but here we have the facilities and that number of girls that are interested in the game now that we can play from under sixes all the way to women. So, yeah, just giving them the opportunities that I didn't have or neither did any other women or older women than me at that time. Just seeing them on field out there running around playing the game that they love with their friends.
Beautiful. Thank you. Go on, Josh.
I can kind of answer both pretty quickly. The best day in my role was when one of my programs kicked off and all the kids had their kit and they were training. It's the first time a program of its type had ever been run in the association. And that was the best day in the job. But the reason I love my job is because half my days I spend it out in the field. My office is a football pitch, which is quite a really cool thing to have. I don't like sitting at a desk all day. That's just me. So the fact that half my day is at a football pitch is quite a cool thing that I love.
Nice. James.
I think what I love most about working in sport and doing what I do is that the product I'm selling is sport, and being a marketer could easily be working in other industries just selling stuff. And I did have a very brief detour in my career where I was like trying to sell computer equipment, which I know nothing about, and it's good honest work, but it wasn't for me. So being able to sell something that like I believe in and that I think really makes a difference in people's lives, what I enjoy most. And the best day that I've had would probably be the opening day of the FIFA Women's World Cup back in 2023. I was one of the first people that joined the team here in Australia to work on that, and there was just a lot of work that went into it, and particularly as we got closer to the tournament, a lot of long hours and a lot of late nights, and to be able to just sit back and watch the opening ceremony unfold, it was very much like, you got a bit emotional seeing it all come together.
Yeah, wow, 4 great answers. Look, what resonates with me there is when our students come here at ACP, they all bring a passion for sport or dance or health or teaching. And I think our role here is to help them find the purpose of where that passion will lie and where they can have an impact. So really good answers. I might make this the final question I ask, okay? And then, like I said, I set you a challenge. Okay, and you've heard about the need to be proactive and to take opportunities, so hopefully someone will do that. But my last question for this is, I'm going to ask these 4, and remember they haven't been able to plan this. I'm going to ask, they're all working in sport, they all sound to me like they've got 4 pretty cool jobs, okay? I couldn't do 2 of them, I wouldn't have the skill set for definitely 2 of them, okay? But 4 pretty cool jobs with great opportunities. So my final question to them is, what is their dream job in sport? Okay, they might say their current job, but I'm not going to allow it. Okay, I want to know, what is their dream job? What is their next job? What would be the ultimate goal for them? And I'm good with uncomfortable silence, so I'm waiting for one of them to jump in. Josh, you cracked first.
I did crack first. Well, I was going to say my job. But what I would say then is doing what I do now, but for the country. So just being part of Football Australia, but doing exactly what I do now.
Really nice. So just expanding your influence and your role further. Okay, nice answer. No one else is allowed to say just for their country now. Okay, I'm gonna disallow that. Okay, Georgia, you look like you were ready to go.
Yeah, I think besides playing obviously highest levels I can, but I really love coaching, so I think some sort of coaching role or mentoring management that way, I think that would be my next step from here.
So moving from coaching yourself to mentoring other coaches.
Yeah. Nice.
Good. James.
For me, it's probably being able to get given the keys to a club or something. I'm a rugby league tragic, but I do like all sports. But I think there's a lot of clubs in Australia that could just be doing so much better than what they are off the field. Not so much talking about the performance of the athletes, but in terms of how they build a brand and in terms of how they commercialise their assets that just aren't happening, and I'd love to just be able to go in there and be given free rein to turn them around.
Nice. Any particular club, James?
I've had my eye on the Gold Coast Titans. I think they could benefit. The Rabbitohs are already top of their game. No need.
James wants to move to the Gold Coast. Excellent. Manny.
Sorry,
Final one from me.
We're sitting next to each other, but he's a Rabbitohs fan, so that's a bit awkward. Maybe should have got him. Dream job. Look, I've been lucky, and I've got my dream job, and I've had my dream jobs, and I'm a lot older than these guys. So I'm going to say my dream job is to retire. Am I allowed to say that?
You are allowed to say that, yes.
I'm going to go Arsenal.
Nice,
Yeah,
yes, international.
Yeah. I think I've had my jobs here. I've worked in the NRL. I wouldn't go to another club, certainly not South. Yeah, I've been pretty lucky. Arsenal would be my dream job, I suppose. Yeah.
Still CFO there?
Yeah, CFO, yeah. I think CEO is a tough gig. I'm actually COO now, to be honest. So I've actually recently got promoted to Chief Operating Officer. Very cool. But CEO is another level for me. I think that's a tough gig. You've got to be a jack of all trades, and so I like sticking to the finances and that. And being COO gives me now more responsible for other parts of the organisation as well, and that's pretty good.
All right, I'm just going to summarise a couple of points for me, and then I'm hoping we got some brave people in the audience that are going to ask the questions. What I think you can tell coming through here is quite diverse roles in sport, but what links them all is their passion for sport. But that's not enough, that they've got a purpose of why they're doing what they're doing, okay, which has an impact on the clubs, the people that play it, the coaches, etc., or the money and the people. The other thing that resonates for me is there's a recent study that said, I'm not going to get the numbers exactly right, but that people between 18 and 24, okay, are likely to have about 13 different jobs across 6 different careers. And unless I've got it wrong, already we've had 2 promotions on these stalls since this slide was done. Okay, so clearly, probably not going to end up in the first job that you go in. Okay, all right, good. I'm getting nods. That was good. I didn't make a mistake there. Okay, right. Who is going to take an opportunity to pick the brains of our panelists? It can be parents, but I prefer it when it's excellent. Thank you very much. It can be a question to someone specifically, or it can be to any.
Well, thank you. I've got 2 questions actually. One specifically for Georgia. How do you manage playing and working at the same time?
Yeah, so I'm just lucky that I have a really good crew around me. I'm in a team, and my CEO and everyone supports my rugby journey as well. So I've been a part of the Waratahs squad for the past 2 seasons, and unfortunately I got let go of this season. So this is the first season I haven't played professionally, and I'm just playing club at the moment. But I think having that conversation with your manager and with everyone else around you to understand how they can support you and how you can support them. Obviously, you can't do your 8 to 5, but there's other times that you can make up for that time. But you just got to have the conversation.
Okay, well done. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. And then for everybody, obviously you've probably faced many challenges in your career. So how did you overcome that, especially mentally? Did that make sense?
Or has it all been smooth sailing the whole way? Go on, Josh.
Just trying to think of how to explain it. I think when you work in sport is one of those things that you are always going to be challenged, whether it is something happens in your role or you can't, potentially find a role. So in certain ways. So for me, my biggest challenge was trying to break into full-time work in the industry. So as much as I spent my entire life being football or soccer, depending on who you speak to, but I call it football, I actually took a massive veer to the right and worked for Little Athletics and was their education coordinator for the state. And that actually then gave me the experience to set me up to come back into my sport. So I think if it's a challenge of that, don't be afraid to leave your sport to then come back into it in a different way.
Yeah, really nice answer. 2 great questions. One more. I'd love one more. I can go home happy if I get one more question. Might pick on someone who's avoiding eye contact. All right. James, Will, Chloe, have you got a question? James, I'm going to walk from here to you. By the time I get to you, okay, one of you. I'm walking slowly. Good lad, Will.
So I guess how much does having a degree, or in your case, Josh, how much did going here help making connections in the industry? How much does a degree sort of help with that, if at all?
Actually, Josh, that would be quite... That seemed like a planted question, but it wasn't. But Josh, it would be quite good to say some of the things you did here, because I'm obviously aware of some of those things. Some of the things you did here that you think helped you along the way.
One of the lines that was first ever said to me when I was coming here was, it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. So for me, going out, speaking to people, getting to know them actually opened up doors for me. I was 16 years old. I went to one of the first ever Football New South Wales coaching conferences, and I walked up to the CEO and said, "Hey, my name's Josh. Here's a resume. I'm looking to do some volunteer work. Would you consider talking to me?" And that's how I got my internship. That actually got me on to like what I wanted to do, which got me into here. And some of the things here that really set me up was I did the coaching and management degree, so I actually had to cover a bit of finance, I had to cover a bit of marketing, which has actually helped me in my role to go, well, we're a small team at Nepean, so I can actually dip my hand in and do some basic promotional stuff, or I've got to set a budget for all the football department. So the degree's definitely helped with other aspects rather than just what I was actually studying in regards to, say biomechanics or coaching or pedagogy. A good example of how degrees can help when you're looking for work. So after this, I went and did a master's in sports coaching and education. When I applied for the role at Little Athletics, I found out it got down to 2 people, and my degrees got me over the line. So we both interviewed really well. One was actually someone from the athletics world, and the degrees and my focus on coaching and development and education actually got me over the line in that to get that job.
All right, thank you. So something we always tell our students is there's 3 things you need to do. Okay, your degree's great, do it really, really well. There'll be loads of opportunities for you along the way, but also make sure you make the most of those opportunities. Okay, we don't want our students coming out with just a degree. We want them to have those opportunities. And the other thing is to do those other industry qualifications along the way. Okay, so what else do you need to make you stand out? I promised that would be the last question. I am going to leave it there. Can we please give a round of applause to our 4 panellists? Thank you very much, Manny. Thank you, James. Thank you, Georgia. And thank you, Josh. I'm going to hand over to Kim Good, our Dean, who's just going to close today